Hi, I'm Adam.
And I'm Em.
And along with our two youngest kids, Scarlett and Zane,
and our two dogs, Albert and Ernie,
we have sold our house, sold our cars, and are moving to Galicia in northern Spain.
So join us as we start our new life, we learn new skills, we join a new community, and we try to live a more sustainable life. So I guess that one of the questions we might be asked is, if we're moving to Galicia, why are we currently sat in front of a motorhome in the middle of a field in Leicestershire?
Well, that's a long and torturous story.
Yeah. Let's cut it short then, so we're not torturing our potential viewers.
Okay. So we've been trying to juggle with three things, really. We've been trying to and make those three things land at the same time. So we've had the visa issue, we've had selling our house issue, and we've also had another issue, which I can't remember now.
Buying the house.
Buying the house issue. And all those balls have been up in the air, and we've been trying to make them land. The biggest one, I guess, is the buying the house issue, is that we haven't bought the house yet. We're signing for it in early September, but it's taken nearly 14 months to get to this point. In the meantime, we've sold our house, which was a long drawn out process as well, but it happened in February, and we needed somewhere to live, hence Heidi the Hymer. So that's why we sat on this field in lovely Leicestershire, outside a motorhome, and not actually in Spain, living in our house as per advertised on this video.
But it is coming, thankfully, very soon. We have had fun in Heidi the Hymer though, haven't we? I know it's been annoying that we've not been able to move straight away, but it has been pretty cool to do all the travelling that we've done around Spain and Portugal and Galicia, and the little peek that we had over the fence at our new home.
Yeah, so as soon as we got the motorhome, we decided that we'll make the most of our 90-day Schengen allowance. And after a week on the east coast at lovely Cromer, we travelled down through France and basically toured the coast of east coast of Spain, southern Spain, then up through Portugal, and then we spent a bit of time again in Galicia, coming back through France, and then back home. Sort of at the end of our, I think we spent about 80 days over there, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why we're in a motorhome and not sat in a nice garden in Galicia,
eating our own tomatoes.
So when you tell people that you move into Spain, Galicia isn't the first thing that springs into people's heads.
No one's ever heard of it.
Yeah. In fact, if you say where's Galicia, nobody knows.
No.
So why we're going?
Because it's green for a start, and we really want to be self-sufficient, and land's cheap as well. But the people in Spain are absolutely amazing, and the atmosphere over there is great, and the community is fantastic, food's brilliant, absolutely everything about Spain is just, it's an amazing country really, and we've always loved Spain, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
So when you went out and did that triathlon with Corinne in Pontevedra, you fell in love with it for a start, didn't you? Because we'd never heard of Galicia really before you'd gone.
No.
And then you kind of, we looked into it more, and it just seemed the absolute perfect place for us to settle, bearing in mind that we want to be a more sustainable lifestyle, and it just kind of made sense for us. Do you have anything else you want to say about Galicia?
It's wet.
It is wet, but it's the good wet. It's always about 5 degrees warmer than what it is in England, so I mean that's always a bonus. We went to go and see about 15 houses in the end, didn't we, last year?
Yeah, so the sort of process we adopted, initially I did a massive internet trawl on houses that met our financial criteria, let's say, and from that we whittled them down with other criteria such as being relatively close to a school, amount of land, potentially how much work they needed to have done. if they got any woodland on them. We whittled it down to about 15, 20 houses, and I think we actually saw 15 when we travelled to Galicia in May 2022.
It was a very busy, exhausting week.
It was. We drove lots of miles, but we got to see the countryside around there, and some of the towns around there, and it just sort of cemented our love of the place, and you know, it was the right decision for us to make.
We were initially quite keen to do a little bit of work on a house, weren't we?
Yeah, until we actually saw the state of some of the houses, and then we weren't so keen on doing the work on the houses. No,
definitely not. You see that one that had been not lived in since the 1990s, and that still had a wall calendar on the wall from like 1998. That was the last time it was inhabited.
We saw a lot of houses. We looked at a lot of houses where you could tell how long they hadn't been lived in because the calendars were just left on the wall.
Yeah, and as beautiful and as characterful and as gorgeous as they were, you just know that for your bargain euro price that you were going to perhaps pay for it, it would have bankrupted us trying to fix it. Most of them probably wanted knocking down, didn't they, before you could actually rebuild them from scratch.
Yeah, so we looked at houses ranging from sort of three bedrooms in a village setting all the way up to we looked at one manor house which I think had like 120 acres and a courtyard, but it would have that sort of thing's as a heart purchase, not a head purchase, and would have bankrupted us. We're on a limited budget, and it's got to last us. So
yeah,
with these old houses, as soon as you start knocking things around, you may as well just get your checkbook out and write another massive check for them.
There was one particular house that we absolutely fell in love with. All wooden beams and wooden staircases, and the massive dining room with this big 12-seater oak dining room table in it. And underneath it you could just see the little piles of wood shavings from the woodworm, and we just knew that absolutely every part of wood in that house was going to need to be treated or replaced. And considering that 95% of the house was wood, that one was immediately written off, unfortunately.
So the house that we're plumbed for was a head purchase rather than a heart purchase, with 4 acres of land. Roughly, the rough split is approximately an acre of sort of currently agricultural land, so that's going to be our garden for growing the vegetables in and fruit. And then there's a garden, a sort of more traditional garden, which is approximately another acre, and then there's just under 2 acres of woodland attached to the land, which I think it's got 20-year-old oak trees on it at the moment. Yeah, it just ticked all the boxes, and hopefully early September we'll be signing the paperwork and moving in, which will be ideal. So following that, we came home and we spent the next 2 months painting our house and getting it into an order that we could sell it, and it went onto the market in July. Didn't sell till February the following year, mind you.
Well, we'd sold it just didn't complete until February, did it?
Didn't complete till February.
Yeah.
Hence the motorhome and us wandering around this field at the moment. So I guess one of the other questions that people ask us is, do you speak Spanish?
Estoy aprendiendo español.
Yeah, we're learning. Emma's picked it up very quickly. Myself and the kids, not so quickly. But we're trying. We're trying hard. We've been at it for well over a year now.
Yeah, the kids will pick it up quicker when they're actually in school as well, won't they? When they've not really got much choice but to pick it up. So absolutely. I think they're there, and when they've got their friends and stuff. So
we all have a Spanish lesson each week with a Spanish tutor, and we use Duolingo as well, which I know some people don't rate, but it gets you doing something every day for 15 or 20 minutes, and you learn a lot in 15 or 20 minutes when you're doing it every day. So from that point of view, it's a great learning tool.
Yeah.
But just to mix things up a bit, and we didn't quite realise at the time, people in Galicia, Spanish is their second language, So they speak Gallego, which is completely separate language to Spanish. We're told it's a bit of a mixture between Spanish and Portuguese.
Yeah.
So that makes things even more interesting.
Yeah.
And puts a nice little twist on things, I think, as well.
Yeah, I mean, it does mean that, especially in the towns that we're going to be nearest to, they don't really speak English because Spanish is already their second language. But then I guess that's just going to make us work even harder at learning Spanish. And then when we can speak that, learning Galician. So I guess where it comes to integrating with a new community, it's certainly going to mean that we can't be lazy. There is no choice but for us to pick up our Spanish quickly to get ourselves integrated, isn't it, really?
Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to that, actually.
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge.
Yeah.
Well, everything's going to be a challenge. But, that's what we've signed up for, and that's what we're going to do. So that's it for this week. I hope you've enjoyed that and learnt a little bit about us. Sorry if it seems a little bit amateurish, but this is Amateur Hour and this is our first YouTube video. If you've got any questions, leave a comment in the comments below and join us next week on Escape to El Campo.
Adios!
Adios!